Hello everyone, Drum Tech drummer and online educator Kenny Sharretts coming to you with a video on how to tune a 24-inch bass drum. Now in this video I'm going to cover a handful of tensions and tunings that I have found useful in my 24 years as a professional touring drum technician that worked well for the artist or the style they like to have or the feel they like to have, and worked well for the music that they were playing. As a tech, I try to tune for the artist and then for the music, kind of adapt their tuning needs and their feel needs to the music. And so with that in mind, the bass drum I'll be tuning today is a vintage Rogers bass drum that I got from Jason Corbiere. It's on loan. And since Jason plays a lot of blues, country, and Americana, our head choice for this tuning video is going to be in accordance with his style. So on the batter head, we're going to be using this lovely Remo Powerstroke 3 coated head. It's a 10 mil ply head with a 10 mil ply inner ring around it for a little bit of muffling, and it's kind of like a head that I find that most drummers use these days, most of my artists use if they use Remo drum heads, because it gives a nice focused, punchy sound for the bass drum with a little bit of control, and they can still keep the drum kind of open for the boom. And on the front, we're going to be using a Remo Smooth White Ambassador, which is also a 10 millimeter ply head for more of a vintage sound that Jason likes to go for. And it's actually one of Big Bang Distribution's pre-ported bass drum heads with a bass drum O built in. So if you're the kind of drummer that likes to have a head that just comes with a hole and a nice protective ring on it, check them out at Big Bang Distribution because it does make it easy, y'all. Now before we get into this video, I want to let you know for this YouTube video, this YouTube version, I'm going to be covering basically the intervals and the tunings and the tensions and let you hear the sounds so you can see if any of these sounds might be right for you or useful for you. However, if you want to learn step-by-step how I tuned this bass drum, head on over to kennysharretts.com where this full step-by-step lesson will be available both as a standalone rental or as part of my annual lesson packs number 2 and number 3, which give you a year's access to my entire online library. And annual pack number 3 actually also includes a 1-hour online lesson with me for only $40 more than annual pack number 2, which is a killer value because my lessons are generally about $80 an hour. And so it's a real value-oriented thing for you, the viewer, in case you want to get some tuning lessons from me. All right, so let's go ahead and get to tuning this bass drum. Now, when I do tunings, I like to start at a fundamental level of finger tight. By finger tight, I don't mean loose. I mean with a little bit of tension on the head, just enough to get the wrinkles out, especially when we're going to be doing some low tension tunings on this bass drum. Because even though I find that 24-inch bass drums tend to sound best or react more and get more of the tone of the shell involved when they're tuned tighter, I know a lot of drummers who like a big boomy sound with a soft head on these with low tension. So we're going to cover all these things. So I'm going to start as low as we could possibly go without wrinkles on this bass drum head. Now I'm using these Remo Quick Tech keys, which are great with the little rubber tops. However, sometimes those rubber tops tend to make you push a little bit further than I want to go. So if you have tips on your keys, by all means use them. But if in other cases where if you don't have a tip or you have these rubber tips, try just using the shoulder and just brushing it up and just until it stops moving, and then go about the drum around in a specific pattern to make sure every tension rod is at the same level. Because if you get them all at the same tension, not only will all these sound great together and basically be of the same pitch, but you'll be rolling on the same thread in hopes, or close to the same thread, so you have even tension and even relative tension, which helps get a better, more clean sound out of the drum and helps keep the drum in tune. So let's go ahead and get this finger tightened up 100%. Now, this is the pattern I recommend. 1, 2, tiny X, big X, and I like to jump over to the side so I'm balancing the tension. And that's the pattern you want to start with because it gives you the best chance of really bringing this head down at even tension. You're kind of pressing it down rather than rocking it down. Now in this situation, I've pretty much just double checked my finger tightening because I prepared this drum for this video to be quick and efficient. And we're starting at basically an F#1 all the way around. And for those of you who use a drum dial, almost every tension rod on this drum is at about a 72. There were a couple that were 71.5, a couple that were 72.5, but this is a wood hoop that has flex, and this is also an older drum with a little bit of wear and tear on the bearing edge. So I allow those discrepancies to exist in tension because it feels the same and it sounds the same, and I'm going for tone on this drum. Now, when we're going to take this first level up, I'm going to go ahead and go a set of turns up and take it up to the next tension, and then flip over and we're going to tune that front head. Let's get to it. Now, the tune bot's telling me a C1, but I'm also hearing a G, so sometimes with big drums, it gives you a bit of a balanced thing where sometimes you hear the fifth or the fourth in the head, as well as the tonic. So don't let that fool you. But what I do here, this one's a little bit higher. And so I know that we got a good balanced, about a whole step between these two heads. So let's give a listen to how this big boomy drum sounds. All right, y'all, that is big and beefy, and I gotta be honest, man, I absolutely love it. It's a little loosey-goosey, the drum's a little kicking back at me and just kind of soft to sink into, but I'm still able to play good rebound and get a nice fat tone out of the drum. Now let's go and see what happens when we leave the reso nice and low, but bring this back head, this batter head up. Just another round of turns, y'all. Come on. All right, now we're back at the drum, getting ready to tune up. We're gonna go ahead and put another round of turns on this drum, add a bit more tension to the head, but leave that front head looser. Yep, and that was right. That front head went about to a G. So let's go ahead and get this drum in position and go ahead and get to playing it. Hear what it sounds like with a super low front head and a little bit more tension on this back head. Solid. Okay, everyone, here we are now behind the kick drum with a tighter batter head, but leaving the reso the same. Though it definitely jumped up in pitch, but it's got a nice stiff sound to it and a good rebound. So let's see what this sounds like. All right, I could feel a lot more rebound, a lot more punch coming off that drum, and we're really starting to activate the shell and get a nice pounding bass drum sound out of here, more of a traditional classic 24-inch bass drum sound. And I'm actually digging it. It sounds great, y'all. So let's go ahead and check out and see what it sounds like to raise that front head just a little bit. Okay, everyone, so I'm going to go ahead and tune this bass drum right in place so we can get to the next recording nice and easily. And I'm going to go up a set of 45-degree turns all the way around on this front head. I'm going to have to turn a little bit here, lift the drum just a touch, and then go 45. And then in the 1-2 tiny X, big X situation, we again go 45. And we're gonna go 45. And then to the last set, which is right here. And I can hear a little bit. Just right here. I'm gonna see what this pitch gives me. All right, now we're getting up into the A sharp 1, A sharp 1, 59, all the way around this drum. Oh yeah, there's no doubt about it. And again, this gives you an idea of what keeping your turns even can really do for you when you raise the pitch of the drum or lower the pitch of the drum, for keeping all the tension rods together and keeping all the pitches sounding the same all the way around. So let's give a listen to this drum now. When it sounds like, let's get to it. All right, so that was easy peasy to get back here behind the kit. So let's give this tuning a listen. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get the drum dial settings for that front head tuning, and then we're gonna get this front head a little bit tighter so you can just see what the next level is, because I gotta be honest, taking that front head up, now that we got some tension on the back of this head, is making that drum smack, yo, and we're getting that traditional big boom that you wanna get out of a 24-inch bass drum. Come on, yo. Yeah, it's right at that G. So it's a flat F sharp to a G right in here. And we got the E on the back head. So let's go ahead and hear what this sounds like on a 24, having the front head a little tighter than the back head, y'all. Come on. All right, y'all, so here we are back at the drum with this fourth tuning, where the reso is a G2, about a minor third higher than this E2 on the back of the drum. And I'm pretty sure it's gonna be pretty punchy and explosive, man, really tight, more like a classic throwback bass drum sound. But either which way, I know it's gonna sound good, y'all, so let's give it a listen. right, y'all, so that is super powerful, super punchy, and a little bit more of a traditional big bass drum sound, man. This is where the tension on the heads really comes into play in bringing the shell sound and size into the equation, where you can get a bright, punchy sound, but also a big, boomy sound, because it's a 24. And I'm actually loving this tuning too. I'm loving all 4 of these tunings, y'all. So I hope this video has helped teach you more about bass drum tunings for a 24-inch bass drum. And I hope to help you find some sounds that you like for your 24-inch bass drum. So please stick around and watch more videos on my YouTube channel about drum tuning and drum tech. And of course, remember, the step-by-step lesson that gives you a wicked set of tuning skills and helps support my YouTube channel is available at kennysharretts.com, both as a standalone lesson and as a part of annual pack number 2 and annual pack number 3, y'all. Come on.